Bring that one back from the top.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Mm. Yeah, 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 yeah. Baby, won't it bend you?
Welcome. It's the Deus Sports Show, live every Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8. Thank you for tuning in. I'm yours truly, Alvin's Deuce. We are back and better than ever. Thank you for tuning in. Before I continue, I'm going to do a quick prayer. Father God, thank you for your grace and mercy, for giving us another opportunity to come to this great station, to come to this great space where we can speak our minds, where we can talk about sports, where we can talk about what we need to talk about to educate the people, to educate everybody that's coming here to listen to what we got to say, protect everybody's going outs and coming in, and keep everybody healthy. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right. Welcome. This is Deus Sports Show, and I'm ready. Uh, I've been out for a while, and got a lot of things to say. Got a lot of things to get into. Um, Playoffs is on, and let's get right into it. Um, you got the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. They're right now leading the Nuggets 2-0. You got the Pacers and the Knicks. They're the New York Knicks are leading the Pacers right now 2-0. You got Cleveland and Boston, and right now Boston is winning the series 1-0. Then you got Dallas and OKC, and right now OKC is leading Dallas 1-0. I want to get into the Timberwolves Nuggets series. Now, you ever been in a situation where the big man on the block, the bully, Debo, on Friday, who always comes and takes somebody's chain, um, the bully at school who always comes to take your fruit off your plate, take your extra milk? Let's be honest, the Denver Nuggets has turned into that team. They have became the new bully on the block, right? And they have become to a point where they were just straight up unstoppable. You got LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers with the best team he's had since he won the title, and he only could win one time in a 4 game series, best of 4 game series, and it's gotten to the point that you got to give him credit. Nikola Jokic, the 3-time MVP. As of a couple days ago, he's now a 3-time MVP award winner. There's very few on that list that has ever um, gotten to that accomplishment. Kudos to him. There's people who say, me personally, I felt like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander should have got that MVP for being the youngest team and the youngest player to lead a team in the Western in the West to a number 1 seed and averaging 30 points a game. I mean, and the way he averages 30 points a game is not no you know electric or how can I say explosive 30 points. It's a cool 30 points. It's before you know it, you look up to the stands and you're like, oh shoot, He's already 30 plus points. So um, I felt like Shea Gillis Alexander should have won the MVP, but they gave it to Nikola Jokic. You can't be mad at that. He also was had put up MVP numbers as well. So now, when I what I gotta say about this is um the Denver Nuggets have met their match, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Granted, they were the number one defense in the NBA this year, but they were the number 17th offense in the NBA this year. So, there was still some trepidation. There was still some doubt that a team like the Timberwolves could match up offensively with the Denver Nuggets. But now um we're playing we're watching these games, and we are being introduced to to Ant-Man, the Ant-Man. I know there's movies out there from Marvel that is called Ant-Man, and we're used to watching those movies, and we're used to watching Ant-Man and the Wasp. But today I come to, and I tell you, there is a new Ant-Man that we need to get used to, and that is his name is Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves, the number one overall pick of 3 years ago. He has blossomed into the brightest young star in the NBA, and he dropped 43, 43 points on him on game one, and then to come back in game two and drop another 27, along with Karl Anthony Towns, both dropping 27 apiece. The problem, the situation that Denver has put us into is that we've got to a point where Nikola Jokic has become unguardable, where there is no big man that can contain him. Right? We don't have there was nobody that can contain Nikola Jokic. Last series, you had Anthony Davis, who is a perennial All Star, a perennial All NBA player, and he did his best going against Nikola Jokic, averaging 15 rebounds a game and giving Nikola Jokic all he could. Right? They didn't. Lakers did not lose that series because of Anthony Davis. Right? Anthony Davis did everything he could. Anthony Davis averaged 30 and 15 in that series. This year, we can't say anything about Anthony Davis when it comes to his playoff performances, right? And we was just at that point, like, you know what? There's nobody that can contain Nikola Jokic. And we was at that point where we was like, you know what? This is going to be another run at an NBA championship when it comes to the Denver Nuggets. Little did we know that the Minnesota Timberwolves, them dogs, them wolves, was coming to play. And not only do the Minnesota Timberwolves have one big man in and the defensive player of the year um what not you have what's the defensive player of the year? His name is I'm blanking on his name right now. Um what's it? 1 second. Rudy Gobert. There you go. I'm blanking on his name. Rudy Gobert. You had the defensive. Not only did you have Rudy Gobert as the defensive player, four-time defensive player of the year as of a couple days ago. Now you have not only do you have Rudy Gobert, but also you have Nas Reed, who is the sixth man of the year this year. You also had Carl Anthony Towns to guard him. You also have Kyle Anderson to guard him. The Minnesota Timberwolves have not one, not two, not three. They also have Nikhil Alexander Walker and Jay McDaniels that they could throw at him. They have potentially 4 to 5 guys that they can throw at Nikola Jokic. And I'll kid you not, people that is listening today, I kid you not. I've never seen Nikola Jokic this frustrated when he's playing. Normally, Nikola Jokic, he has everything under control. He is a double double, close to a triple double machine, and and to be honest, I am surprised, and I am um um at awe at the way that they are defending Nikola Jokic, and this team is perfectly built to defend Nikola Jokic, and I'm here for it, man. And to be honest, I've changed my opinion, and I don't feel like um the Denver Nuggets is going to win this this series. You heard it here first. I feel like the Minnesota Timberwolves is going to win this series and eliminate the defending National Basketball Association champion. I feel like the Denver Nuggets is about to get eliminated by the Minnesota Timberwolves. And that's how good I feel about this team, right? And that goes to show how confident and how good I have, how impressed I am when it comes to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And now let's get right. Peep this, right? You're the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? The Minnesota Timberwolves are ran by the general manager named Tim Connolly, right? Tim Connolly, get this if you don't know this, right? Tim Connolly was the general manager for the Denver Nuggets 2, 3 years ago. Tim Connolly is the general manager who is the general manager who constructed the Denver Nuggets, who drafted Nikola Jokic, who drafted Murray, who drafted um all these other players that are now playing with the Denver Nuggets. Tim Connolly is the person who constructed the Denver Nuggets. So how fitting is it for us, for me, or I mean for us to see a team that is now beating or being looked at as superior than the Denver Nuggets than the team of the same person who built the Denver Nuggets now over in Minnesota. So it's fitting to see that the team that we see that is now superior over the Denver Nuggets is the same general manager that built the Denver Nuggets. But now he built another team in Minnesota. So now we're looking at the person who has the same philosophy, the same way of building a team that built Denver Nuggets is not that now in Minnesota. And I remember when Tim Connolly made that trade for Rudy Gobert from the Utah Jazz. Tim Connolly was killed because everybody thought that was a horrible trade. Everybody was killing him for that trade because they thought that was a horrible trade. Now you fast forward, everybody's like, you know what? This was a genius trade, right? Now all of a sudden, um, we have a juggernaut right now in the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? So now here we are with the Minnesota Timberwolves up 2-0 against the Denver Nuggets. But here's the problem I now have when it comes to the Denver Nuggets, right? When you get to a point where, you know what? Why not? Let's get into it. When you get to a point where you start to gain success, you start to how can I say it? Start to smell yourself a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You winning, you doing your thing, right? And now you the big man on the block. You start to get cocky. You start to feel some type of way. You start to, hey, listen, that was a foul, okay? And you didn't call that. You need to call that next time. I'm the defending champion, right? So now you got a person on the Denver Nuggets, a player named Jamal Murray, right? And I kid you not. The last game, he was frustrated, right? They hounding him. He's losing, and he just can't believe it. He's like, man, what's going on, right? He goes to the bench and he throws a towel onto the court, intentionally trying to throw it to the referee. The ball boy comes and hurry ups and takes it away. Next thing you know, he gets a heavier object and a ice pack, and he intentionally throws it to towards the referee, and then it gets on the court, and a player, multiple players almost stepped on it, and the ball boy did a great job, by the way. Hurry up and got it. And I'm looking at that video, and all I see somebody intentionally trying to throw something on the court towards the referee that could potentially hurt a referee or hurt a player, right? And I'm not gonna lie to you. People gonna be like, well, if Draymond did that, that man would have been suspended, right? And they fined him $100,000. And in normal circumstances, I would be like, you know what, man, that's that they should have suspended that man, right? But then again, it takes guts by the league office to not suspend him, right? The reason why I say it takes guts for them not to suspend him is because I feel like this is what I feel like. And I was watching a radio show on ESPN, and it was Greeny's show, and his co-host said something that was very, I never seen before. I didn't think about it that way. He said, "Hey, I think he was intentionally trying to get ejected." Right? I'm like, what? I'm like, what you mean he intentionally tried to get ejected? The man said, I feel like he intentionally tried to get ejected. And then he said, I feel like he intentionally tried to get suspended the next game. And I'm looking at it like, what? Why would he even think of such a thing, right? It makes sense. You finally meet your match, right? Now, if you lose fair, you lose all, let's say you get swept or you lose 4-1. Everybody gonna be like, man, they beat y'all fair and square, man. Y'all boys, hey, they were just a better team. But now, if you throw someone on the court, you get suspended next game. And then that next game you're suspended, they win, and then they end up winning the next game 4-0. Guess what? They could be like, well, game 3, we didn't have our point guard. So how can you say that there was a better team? Game 3, I got suspended. So how can you say that if I was there, that we wouldn't have won that game? I feel like what the co-host on Greeny's show was saying that, hey, he is trying to find a way where he can make excuses, and if he gets suspended or he finds a way to not be on the next game, now he has a reason, or he has a he has a reason to get to have an excuse. Like he can have an excuse. Oh, I wasn't. Oh, Jamal Murray wasn't on the on the wasn't at the game, wasn't playing, so that didn't count. That series don't count and stuff like that. And so I feel like that would have birthed a whole bunch of excuses. And I'm kind of happy now that the league office did not suspend Murray, because now there's no excuses that can be made. Right? You are playing game 3. We find you $100,000. Now you could be on the you gonna be playing game 3, and there's no excuses. It's either put up or shut up. You get what I'm saying? So now there's no excuses. You are here, game 3. You're playing, put up or shut up. Right? Shuts out to Bill. He's on the chat. He's saying defense wins championships. Shout out. Right? And I agree. Defense do win championships. Right? Now, so now when I see that, I'm happy that everybody's still at full strength. Everybody is still going to play, and that's what I want to see, man. I don't want to see anybody not playing and then there's an excuse, and no, I don't want to see any of that. And I'm happy that that didn't happen, and 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 kudos to them not suspending him, because now everybody still has a fair shot, and yeah, that's how I look at it. Now, moving on, you got the Knicks and the Pacers. You got the Knicks. They are up 2-0 to the Pacers, and you got a little situation going on with Rick Carlisle, and the Pacers have made formal complaints of 78 instances in the last 2 games where they feel like the referees are not giving them fair calls. And I'm not going to lie to you, man. This year has been different when it comes to the referees. The referees have been very inconsistent, in my opinion, this year. And the reason why I say that is because there's been a lot of no calls, man. And then there's a lot, not only is there a lot of no calls, but there's been a lot of calls that comes late, that out of nowhere you're calling a call that you weren't calling in the beginning of the game. And I'm starting to see a lot of that. And Rick Carlisle, he's an old school coach. Rick Carlisle is one of the few coaches that you would see complaining about the referees. Rick Carlisle don't do stuff like that. That's not his style. But if you see he going out about and and um and he's talking about that and he's pissed off about that and whatnot, just know, just know that he has a legitimate gripe because he doesn't complain about stuff like that. He's an old school coach. He don't got time for that. He's normally just coach. But if you see him griping about that, and the reason why is because the NBA to has made a conservative effort to let the players play a little bit more this year. And we've seen it. The proof is in the pudding. It's a lot more physical this year. Everybody's seen that. You get what I'm saying? So even though there are certain calls that was not given towards the Indiana Pacers and whatnot, one thing I will say is New York is still a better team than the Indiana Pacers, and that no matter what, in my opinion, the New York Knicks would win this series, even if it's in 5, even if it's in 6, or even 4. I don't see that happening in 4. I see Pacers getting at least 1 or 2 games, right? So let's see what happens. Let's see, um, you know, if the calls get better. But as of now, I still feel like New York is a more superior team than the Indiana Pacers, and I see a direct um matchup when it comes to the Eastern Conference Finals when it being Boston and New York for the Eastern Conference Championship. And me personally, I got the Knicks over Boston Celtics, man. Bing bong. I'm with the New York Knicks, man. You know, I don't be rocking with Boston like that, man. I ain't doing that, bro. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. I don't rock with Boston like that, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Hey, I'm a Heat fan. We go at it with Boston. And I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, okay, I'm gonna be real. I'm not a homer. I'm not hating or anything like that. And I'm being very uh, uh, non-biased here, and I'm being objective when it comes to my judgment with New York versus Boston. Um, when eventually that uh matchup does come, I feel like New York gonna beat Boston, and the reason why I feel like that is because I don't know, man. I'm suspect. That coach suspect to me, man. With Boston, man. Joe Mazzulla's suspect. He a good coach, but I don't feel like with the success they doing right now, with the success that they have making the Eastern Conference Finals, making finals and whatnot, I just don't see. I feel like he's really in a little bit like riding the coattails of this team a little bit, and I really haven't seen him put in a situation where it really. I haven't seen him put in a situation where people are really looking at him and being like, okay, what we do. And the last time he was put in that situation with the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals Game 7, I've seen a lot of players trying to help him out. Hey, this is what we should do. This, that, and the third. And he didn't come through. So, in my opinion, I feel like when it's nut crunching time and everybody's looking at Joe Mazzulla like, hey, draw us a play. What we gonna do? I still see he ain't gonna come. I still feel like he ain't gonna come through in those big spots yet. And I'm not saying he's a bad coach. He's a good coach, right? But I feel like he's not there yet. And the only difference really and they did a good job. They hired Sam Cassell as the lead assistant, taking him away from where he was at. And if I'm not mistaken, he was with LA or Dallas. I'm not sure where he was at, but they hired him as the lead assistant coach with Joe Mazzulla. In my opinion, I feel like Sam Cassell deserves a head coaching job somewhere, in my opinion. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, come on, you got all these people getting multiple job opportunities, and Sam Cassell's been assistant coach right next to the head coach for a good minute now, and still can't get a job. But that's a conversation for another day. And so, in my opinion, uh, I feel like if New York would get to that point with Boston, I feel like I believe in I believe in big body Brunson um getting that even if it probably game 7 in getting it game 7. It don't matter how much when to get it, but I just feel like that he will get it in my opinion. So yeah, that's just me. Um, then we got Cleveland and Boston. Boston leads the series 1-0. We're watching it right now live on TV. Um, with 30 seconds into 28 seconds, 27 seconds into the game. And Boston with Jason Tatum on the foul line. He's made one of his 2 free throws, and he's about to shoot the second free throw as we speak. And most likely he will make it. And now the Boston is now up 2-0 with 30 seconds into the first quarter, and they're at Boston. And when it comes to Cleveland, I'm not gonna lie to you, they got my boy Max Struess over there. Shout out. Um, it just there's something's up with that team. Um, you got Spider Mitchell over there. He's scoring 30 something points a game. But in my opinion, the way the offense is with the Denver, I just feel like it can't. In order for Cleveland to really be a special team, it can't just be Spider Mitchell and everybody else. You got an all star point guard over there, and they're not utilizing him, in my opinion, the way um, they need to when it comes to um, the the system that they're running. I feel like they're running it as if they're running it through Spider Mitchell when um, you have that point guard over there, Darius Garland. You can't have Darius Garland only scoring 14 points with 5 assists. He's an all-star point guard. He should be up there to 25 points, not 14. But in my opinion, that's neither here nor there. Um, and in my opinion, the next series that I want to talk that I haven't talked about yet is the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Dallas Mavericks. In my opinion, I ain't gonna lie, boy. Uncle Drew been playing better than Luka Doncic, in my opinion. Right? Ain't nobody saying nothing. Oh, ain't nobody saying nothing about that. But when it's something negative, Kyrie Irving's name all over the tabloids and stuff like that. But you're not saying anything when now Kyrie Irving he balling out the wazoo and nobody's saying anything about that is not major news and whatnot. And watching the last game, I'm not gonna lie to you, Luka Doncic, he looked like he's hurting, man. He got his look like his knee is not right, and he stepped on somebody's foot and twisted his ankle, and he wasn't looking right, in my opinion. So you got that situation Dallas is dealing with when it comes to Luka Doncic not being healthy, and you got you have Kyrie Irving, Uncle Drew. He's scoring 25, 30 points, but you need 25, 30 from each, not just one of them. That's the only way that they can be successful is with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving scoring 25 to 30 points. And yeah, so and OKC, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. OKC look like a well-oiled machine. A lot of people were doubting them because they're the youngest team in the NBA, and they were and they're the number one seed in the West. I feel like if Shea Gillis Alexander was 2 3 years older, he'd have won the MVP. But because of his age, they felt like, man, you too young to be winning the MVP. And I felt like, because I know if he won that MVP, he would have been the youngest MVP to win it. If besides Derrick Rose, if I'm not mistaken. I think right now Derrick Rose is the youngest MVP to ever win it. I think Derrick Rose won the MVP in his third year in the league, if I'm not mistaken, with Chicago back in them days when Derrick Rose was the Rose. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so now in my opinion, we're in a collision course when it comes to in my. I don't feel like unless I see something different from Luka Doncic, I feel like OKC is going to win this series, if not six, if not 5 to 6, within 5 to 6 games, and they will be meeting, in my opinion, the Minnesota Timberwolves, where I personally feel like it probably is going to be a big um a barn burner when it comes to Minnesota and OKC. It probably will even go 7 games, and it and I give the edge to Minnesota because that man Edwards, everybody comparing him to Jordan. Like people haven't seen the intensity and the passion from a player and the offensive will to to bring your team to victory and to lead your team to victory. The Nobody have seen that veracity and that intensity in someone's personality since Jordan. And yeah, so now people comparing this man to Jordan, and we were in a situation where people were like, the Europeans were taking over. It was European here, European there. Like, who was gonna be the American born player to come and just and take over the top spot? And here we go. We got Edwards, um, um, and he's doing his thing, man. He is something else. I mean, scoring 43, then 27. His offense is is uh is already up to par and polished. Um, and you know he's only 22 years old, man. I mean, if he's playing like this at 22 years old, I mean, wow. Like, I see why people starting to, you know, uh, you know, compare him to Jordan. I don't know, Brother King, Pastor King, and everybody else that's up there, that's been in that era, that watched that era, begs to differ, and probably be like, hold up, young buck, ain't nobody compared to can be compared to the one Jordan. So we'll see how that go, and we'll see his success. Um, you know, and like I said, you know, it's some great games, man. Some great games. The playoffs it's where is that, man? It's some good games going on right now, man. The New York Knicks, man. Oh my goodness, man. That stadium, man. I want to go to it one day, man. I just gotta go. I gotta go to it one day, just one day, just to feel the energy. Like, whoa, like this is it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I ain't trying to be in the bleach. I'm trying to be down there. So I'm trying to. So it's just it's something that energy, man. You looking, it bursts through the screen when you're watching the games, man. You're like, wow, like the energy in the garden is something different, man. It's very we needed that in New York. New York ain't have nothing like this in a while, so that's good, man. And I'm tired of people saying Jalen Brunson's not a superstar. Jalen Brunson's a superstar. I don't know why people don't want to call him a superstar. He's averaging 35 points a game, and he always gets hurt and comes right back. That's the thing. Like, there's times where you think that this man is not coming back, then he comes right back and then just finishes the game and balls out. So I like what New York is doing right now, man. You got Jalen Brunson DiVincenzo, and Hart. They all played in Villanova together, and now they over here in New York, and they're um, playing together in New York. If they calling them the Villanova Knicks. Right now, I'm watching Boston and Cleveland right now, and there is a they what was it? It's what 4 minutes into the game, and Boston leads Cleveland 14-5. And that's Boston is leading the series 1-0, and they're right now with 4 minutes into the first quarter, leading 14-5 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So moving forward, we're gonna take a quick break and move on to the next segment. We thank you for tuning in, and uh, on the next segment, um, what I want to talk about is it's time it's time for players to start taking accountability, and you know what, just keep it locked until after the break, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's time to take accountability. This is Deus Sports Show. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be right back.
You are now listening to Hosanna Radio, the radio station that's connecting the world to gospel.
My feet may fail, and there I find you in the mystery, and oceans deep, a faithful stand. And I will call upon your name, keep my eyes above the waves. Oceans rise and so at rest in your embrace. For I am yours, you are mine. Oh, you are mine. You are mine. Your grace abounds in deepest waters. Your sovereign hand will be my guide. My feet may fail and fear surrounds me. You never fail, and you won't stop now. So I will call upon your name, and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise and so at rest in your embrace. Oh, I am yours. You are mine. You are mine.
Auditeur, ou pran lumière rouge. Comment faire un petit freiner pour brancher Radio Hosanna, Radio Peuple, Radio Chaleur, grand monde, petit monde, la jeunesse, de tout côté. Et c'est Radio qui porte la joie dans la communauté. Communauté.
Without borders, let me walk upon the waters, wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could my faith would be made stronger. The presence of my Savior. Spirit leads me where my trust is without borders. And you walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take that my feet could ever wander. My faith would be stronger. The presence of my Savior. Spirit lead me where my trust is without borders. And you walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander. My faith would be stronger. The presence of my Savior. Oh, you are
You are now listening to Hosanna Radio, the radio station that's connecting the world through gospel.
I'm back and better than ever. Thank you for tuning in. And this segment, I'm gonna call this I've got something to say. I'm getting tired of this, man. I'm getting tired of people, right, getting the blame for no reason. I'm getting tired of people not taking accountability. Last week, the Los Angeles Lakers were eliminated by the Denver Nuggets. And in my opinion, you lose to the defending champions. That, in my opinion, is not a bad series loss. Right? Before that series, people were discussing should the Los Angeles Lakers have tanked in the play-in to play OKC instead of playing the Denver Nuggets, right? Why was people making those conversations? Why was people making those arguments? Because everybody knew that the Denver Nuggets were going to be a hard out. Everybody knew that. So I don't understand what's going on here. There's a lot of knee-jerk reactions that has been happening in the NBA that has been causing certain teams to be in certain predicaments for no reason. Right? They fired Darvin Ham after the season, and in my opinion, I felt like that was a bad decision. Darvin Ham should not have been fired. Darvin Ham came in his first year and brought the team to the Western Conference Finals when they didn't even think that they were going to make the playoffs that year. Darvin Ham was the one team that was able to develop a player that nobody expected him to develop into when it comes to what's his name? We got it right here. When it comes to Austin Reeves, he developed Austin Reeves. Rui Hachimura, a high pick for the Washington Wizards. He did not blossom into what he should have been. He go to the Los Angeles Lakers. Darvin Ham found a way to make him useful and turn him into a guy who was scoring 15 points every other game. He turned Austin Reeves into a closer to the point where he was averaging scoring 15 to 25 points every other game. Darvin Ham was the person who found a way to get D'Angelo Russell to play up to the potential that he is capable of playing. Darvin Ham is the one coach who got Anthony Davis to play 76 games and average a double-double, 25 and 12. Darvin Ham is the one who brought them to the West Conference Finals when he didn't think they were going to make the West Conference Finals. And then the following year, Darvin Ham was the team who won the inaugural play-in tournament championship. Darvin Ham is the coach who gelled, who knew how to push certain buttons, who knew how to, who if you watched the Lakers, you said, okay, that's a formidable team. In my opinion, the Lakers with LeBron James, this was the best team that LeBron James played for offensively. Right? And pretty much almost defensively, excluding that playing, excluding the bubble year. Right? So why you got eliminated by the defending champions? That is not a bad defeat. So why did Darvin Ham get fired? Right? And I blame LeBron James. I blame Anthony Davis because they were up by 20 multiple times with Denver. And then the one game, I forgot what game it was, if it was game 2 or game 3, and they lost the game. They gave up. Denver came back and beat them with, you got to understand, Denver beat the Lakers with 2-game winners. 2-game winners. If it wasn't for a game winner, the series would have been 2-2. Right? Murray scored 2 go-ahead shots to win the game for Denver. Murray won 2 games on his own. Right? If those bounces, if those shots did not go in, what are we talking about right now? We're possibly looking at a potential upset. Oh, that was an offensive foul. See, this is what they're talking about right here. The Boston and Cleveland is 11 seconds left in the first quarter, and you clearly see Jason Tatum put his shoulder into Darius Garland's chest, and Darius Garland went flying, and no call, no offensive foul. This is what coaches are saying. There's a lot of no calls. But let me get back to what I was saying. Darvin Ham, he had a system, and this was the best coach, in my opinion, that figured out a chemistry, figured out a way for all those players to gel. And I feel like Anthony Davis in that press conference when he said when on the game that they lost, they were up 20. He said, "Oh, there was points of times we didn't know what we were doing." That right there, you put the man's job in jeopardy when you said something like that, man. Why'd you do that? Why'd you throw him under the bus? And you know that's not the truth, right? They threw the man under the bus and cost the man his job. When 2 of those games, Murray single-handedly hit game winners, man. And if it wasn't for that, who knows what the Lakers could probably been 2-2 or 3-2. Come on, man. And you fire him? So now who's going to be the next coach? Who are you going to look at? Who is going to be the next coach of the Los Angeles Lakers? Because if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the close. If I'm not mistaken, this is the 8th or 9th coach that LeBron has that LeBron got fired since he's been a player. He tried to get Eric Spoelstra fired. There are stories, rumors out there that said that he went to the administration and said, "Hey, I want a new coach." And Pat Riley said, "Man, get your hand out of here, man. I'm not firing Eric Spoelstra." Right? Now, in my opinion, LeBron James has caused a lot of coaches to get fired. And some were not deserving of getting fired. Right? And there's one, in my opinion, I remember, I kid you not, that did not deserve to get fired, and that was David Blatt. If y'all remember David Blatt, right? He brought the team, Cleveland, to the NBA Finals against Golden State. The following year, Cleveland was 30-11, and they fired him. How do you fire a coach that's 30-11, that got your team 30-11? How? He brought you to the finals the year before, and the following year he's 30-11. You fired him. Right? Luke Walton, okay, that he deserved to get fired. Frank Vogel didn't deserve to get fired. He won you a championship in the bubble. Last time I checked, somebody won a championship, you at least get 3-4 years of guaranteed years of coaching. That's the last time I checked. Frank Vogel got fired a year after he won the championship. Now, look, you still looking for a head coach. Should have kept Frank Vogel, right? Now he just, breaking news, he got fired today from Phoenix after one season. And let me not even start with Phoenix. Phoenix was a perennial playoff contender. They lost to the finals against Giannis. Giannis had a superhero finals, NBA finals. If it wasn't for Giannis with a superhero performance, right? Phoenix would have won the championship. Chris Paul would have had a ring right now. You remember how many times, Mitch, I said, "Oh, I'm going with Phoenix because I want Chris Paul to win a ring. I'm with Chris Paul. I ain't gonna lie. I want my daughter to get a ring." Right? And then you had a head coach in Monty Williams, who brought that team from nothing to something. That team was nothing. He came in, he turned it into a perennial playoff contending team that went to the finals. Monty Williams, right? And then you go and you make all these trades. You bring in Kevin Durant. You bring in Bradley Beal, right? You ship everybody else out, right? James Jones, you my dog. You played for the Heat, one of the championship teams. You my dog. You the general manager for the Phoenix Suns. But you made some mistakes. Because when you brought in Kevin Durant and you brought in Bradley Beal, you still had Chris Paul on the roster. And instead of keeping Chris Paul on the roster, ever since Chris Paul went to Cleveland, they've been going to the Western Conference Finals, and a perennial playoff team. You bring in Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and you already have your superstar Devin Booker there. Why not keep Chris Paul there and let him run the show? You ship Chris Paul out. Now you have no point guard to run the show, and now the offense is a one-on-one type offense where there's no passing, there's no assists, and then you bring in Frank Vogel, who's a defensive guru, and then there's no point guard. Like, I don't understand. There's certain moves that you're making that's causing you to be in a situation. If you kept Chris Paul, that team would have been a better offensive team. Right? There's certain mistakes that you guys, that in my opinion, I'm looking at, I'm like, man, this is easy. Why are you guys making these mistakes? Then you fire Monty Williams. You bring in Frank Vogel. Monty Williams didn't deserve to get fired. He brought the team to the finals. He brought the team to the playoffs multiple times. Then you fire Monty Williams with the success he had. That's another coach that's getting fired for no reason. You bring in Frank Vogel. Next thing you know, you realize you made a mistake. Now you fired Frank Vogel after one season when you could have just kept Monty Williams. Same thing with the Los Angeles Lakers. You fired the head coach for no reason. Darvin Ham for no reason. And now who are you going to get as a head coach? Ain't nobody going to want to go there. Because everybody looking at, I'm going to get fired once LeBron don't want to play with me anymore. Once LeBron don't want to be my head coach anymore. Want me to be the head coach anymore. Like, I don't get it. People are getting fired for no reason. Milwaukee. You have Mike Budenholzer. He won you a championship, bruh. The following year, his brother died during the playoffs. This man is not in his right mind. You go ahead and fire him. You fired a guy that brought you, bro, Mitch, I can't even believe. You fired the one head coach that got you a championship, your first championship in 50 years. Then you go and hire. Another head coach who supposedly Giannis said okay to, right? You hire what's his name? Adrian Griffin. You hire Adrian Griffin as head coach. Right? His first head coaching job. He's 30-13. He goes 30-13. First head coaching job. Right? Mitch, he goes 30-13 in 43 games. He coached 43 games. He went 30-13. Everybody was still hurt. Nobody was healthy yet. Stuff like that. You go and hire Doc Rivers, who was the advisor for Adrian Griffin. Everybody say you backdoored him and went and took his job. That's what people say, right? You hired Doc Rivers, and in 36 games, what Doc Rivers' record was? Doc Rivers didn't even have a winning record. He went 17-19 during the regular season, right? So what was the improvement? What was the improvement? I don't understand what's going on. These owners are allowing these superstars to tell them, hey, I want this coach gone. And these owners and general managers are saying, okay, and they're listening to these players. You're getting yourself in a dangerous position, man. The Miami Heat, when LeBron was playing, he went up to the administration and he wanted Eric Spoelstra fired. Do you guys remember the shoulder bump? If you're a Heat fan, you remember the shoulder bump. Mitch, you don't remember the shoulder bump? When the timeout and LeBron going next to Eric Spoelstra and LeBron hit Eric Spoelstra with the shoulder bump, showing, hey, I don't want you here no more, man. Guess what? Pat Riley said, Eric Spoelstra's not going anywhere. Guess what? Eric Spoelstra didn't go anywhere. Since then, Eric Spoelstra is being looked at as the best coach in the NBA. Right? We need more organizations like the Miami Heat. And I'm not saying this as, oh, you a Heat fan. That's why you're saying all that. No, this is not what I'm saying. The reason why I'm bringing up that we need more teams like the Miami Heat who's going to stand up to these players, right? And tell them no when it comes to certain decisions and whatnot is because these players are running these organizations into the ground. Right? Because the general managers don't have the balls to tell LeBron James no. The owner don't have the balls to tell Giannis no. They don't have the balls to tell James Harden no. Right? Now, you know who has the balls to tell LeBron no? You know who has the balls to tell James Harden no? You know who has the balls to tell Giannis Antetokounmpo no? Pat Riley. Pat Riley is going to tell you in your face, no. No. Right? And did you guys not see this story this past week? If you haven't seen this story this past week, I'm going to bring it up to you. All right? Here it is. Heat's Pat Riley, unhappy with Jimmy Butler's remarks on Celtics and Knicks, implies he needs to play more. Heat President Pat Riley held an end-of-season news conference following team's elimination from the NBA playoffs last week after finishing as the Eastern Conference number 8 seed after losing the first round to the Boston Celtics in 5 games. Riley told reporters that he expects head coach Eric Spoelstra to take a deep dive into the offense and defense. Payroll is also a significant concern, with the Heat currently $10 million over the luxury tax. However, Riley raised the temperature in the room considerably when he directly and indirectly addressed Jimmy Butler's role with the team. Butler caused a stir over the weekend with remarks that Celtics would be at home if he was available to play in the series. Butler's injured his knee during the play-in tournament loss to Philadelphia 76ers. And if he was playing on the Sixers instead of the Heat, they wouldn't have lost to the New York Knicks in the first round. Riley had no patience for Butler's remarks when was asked about them. Riley says, and quote, for him to say that, I thought, is that Jimmy trolling or is Jimmy serious? If you're not on the court playing against Boston or on the court playing against the New York Knicks, you should keep your mouth shut. Any criticism of those teams. Yet that stern rebuke may not have solely been based on Butler's comments during the news conference reference to the availability of Heat players. There are a lot of elements that go into the culture and the erosion of the culture. Problems in the NBA are league wide, and when it comes to the health and players missing games, when it comes to availability, Riley said. Here we get eliminated again in the first round. There are things you have to look at. He added, who moves the needle the most the most on our team is Jimmy. He is incredible. He's an incredible player. What I said about change is he is going to have to give some thought about what we really what I said about change is he's going to have to give some thought for what we really want it to be. Butler turns 35 in September, played 60 games this season for Miami. During the 5 seasons with the Heat, he averaged 58 games. With rumblings that Butler wants a contract extension, Riley appeared to be sending a message that his star needs to play more. If he can't play more, he shouldn't talk about what might have happened. The 13-year veteran is signed for the 2024-25 season with $52 million with a $52 million player option for 2025-26. Butler is reportedly seeking a 2-year max extension, according to the Miami Herald, that have until June 2025 to decide whether or not to make the offer. But Riley asked if trading Butler was a possibility. He simply said no. So this could be building toward a standoff over Butler wanting contract extensions versus the Heat preferring to wait at least a year to see if changes are made. Right? And Butler's agent Bernie Lee disputed Riley raising the issue of availability to the South Florida Sun Sentinel repeater. If you look at Jimmy's entire career, I'm not really sure what their this narrative is coming from in terms of constantly dissecting his availability. But if you look at his 5 years in Miami, the Miami Heat have participate the Miami Heat have participated in 61 playoff games, not including the past playoffs that he was injured for. Of those 61, Jimmy has only missed 3 because of injury. In every single playoff series he's been in Miami, he's led them both minutes per game and total minutes. The situation could gain some clarity over the summer or leading to training camp if Butler pushes for a contract extension before the 24-25 season begins and becomes discontent if the Miami aren't receptive to a new deal. Pat Riley said you should keep your mouth shut. What other organization is going to tell their superstar? What other organization is going to tell their superstar that they should keep their mouth shut? There's no other organization. There's no other organization is going to put their foot down. Only the Miami Heat. It's time for these other organizations to start putting their foot down because they are allowing these players to cause the organization to make decisions that has become very bad ramifications for certain teams in their future, right? And it's starting to get bad. We need more like Pat Riley to start telling people like LeBron James, no, I'm not firing Darvin Ham. Have you seen the success that Darvin Ham has had in the last 2 years? Why would I fire a coach like him? Look what he's done in 2 years. But instead, you've caused this man to have a narrative as if he can't make in-game adjustments when that's all he's been doing since he got there. Making the Lakers play a formidable way, bringing them to the Western Conference Finals, and then playing, and then winning the in-season tournament, and to now getting to the playoffs once again 2 years in a row against the juggernaut of Denver Nuggets, the defending champions. I don't get it, man. We need more organizations to put their foot down and just say it's time to keep your mouth shut. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm taking my team back. That's what certain general managers and owners need to start saying to these players. Look at Denver Nuggets. Look at the Brooklyn Nets. Look at the situation they're in right now. Right? Right? It's time to take your teams back, you owners. It's time, you general managers, to take your team back. Take the control back. It's time for these players, right, to allow these general managers and owners and coaches, allow them to do what they need to do. Allow them to do their jobs, man. This is Do Sports Show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We'll see you again next week. Signing out.